What's up? Let's look at a gangster. Yeah, let's look at a famous gangster. This is John Gotti. Now, if you don't know anything about John Gotti was called the Teflon Don because he was always getting in trouble with the law and they didn't seem to be able to get him. Finally, they got him, but he was always in the news. He was a real cocky uh, crime boss in New York City, the big city. And they say he had a lot of charisma, so we're going to check him out. Check out the gestures, the facial expressions of John Gotti. Now, in this first photo, I'm from the Chicago area, and there's a lot of I imagine it's not like it used to be, but growing up, you run into a lot of tough guys that look just like this. And the thing is, you can't tell, especially as a child. But as you grow up, you start to notice certain things about certain older guys. And this guy looks like a lot of people. I remember my one of my friends was a lawyer. No, no, no. Well, no. I mean, my friend's dad was a lawyer, and he was friends with Blagojevich. If you know anything about Blagojevich, you know he was big into that crime world, even though he was governor. But when I look back on some of the people we used to meet at this guy's law firm, when you'd be there after school or whatever, they look like John Gotti. And I don't know who the fuck they were, but they probably were this type of person. Now, this look here, he's very sure of himself. He's very sure of himself. Even though he's not looking straight into the camera, you can tell whatever he's looking at, he's looking at it with deliberacy. He's always thinking about an action. It's an action or an inaction. If it can't be acted upon, he's gonna move on. He's looking for the next lick, as they call it, the next come up. He's got that stockbroker look, you know what I mean? A lot of these gangster guys are not really that tasteful, but they see the taste of other people that are also aren't that tasteful, like stockbrokers and shit. And they dress like them. This style went out of style with the gangsters as time went on, but I think this is the 80s. Yeah, let's move on. He's a little bit younger here, so he looks a little bit rougher around the edges. He looks like he's about to smack the shit out of somebody. Not that old guy, of course, but he looks pretty rough. He looks like a pretty rough guy. He looks like a guy who's done some weird shit. Those eyes look pretty devilish. He looks like he's got kind of a permanent scowl at this time compared to this picture. You see, a little softer here. You don't have to kill nobody no more. But here he's probably just got finished hitting some guy with a bat. The look is not nearly as subtle. The stakes aren't as high, I imagine, at this point in his life. He's not eating as good. You can see he's not as fat. So he probably has less cares in the world. He doesn't care. Looks like he's going to court. This isn't particularly an interesting photo, not much to tell from this. I mean, he's kind of like a mannequin. He's a mannequin for this lifestyle. He's got the suit on, the fancy suit, and he wants to be the representative. He wants to model the lifestyle, and that's what he's doing. He's got the immaculate hair. Who knows how much hairspray he's got in there? But there's nothing in his eyes. Yeah. He looks like Amber Heard a little bit, where he looks like he's probably looking into the mirror a lot. He probably, in his establishment where he hangs out, whatever social club, he probably had the lots of mirrors in there, I'm guessing. He's probably constantly primping his hair, because it's hard to keep your hair like that. That New York wind blowing through your hair. You got to constantly be running a comb through there. He looks like he's eating good. He looks like he is getting some sun. Who knows whether he just got off scot-free on a case. But he looks really happy. I mean, he's glowing like a pregnant woman. He doesn't look dangerous. And in the end, what he wanted a lot of other people to take a fall for him so he could be the boss. He misunderstood, I suppose, what his position was. Like a lot of people do, he abused the power and ended up betraying and being betrayed. But this is probably the height of his life right now. I mean, he's really glowing. Once again, I think this is the height of his time where he thinks he's invincible. I don't know whether he just smiles like this in public. I imagine he can't just smile like this all the time when he's with rough guys. But I guess if they've seen you do certain things, or they've seen you have a certain amount of power, maybe you can. I don't know. He's not very interesting. He tries to wrap his personality in his clothes, or he tries to portray a personality with his clothes and his appearance, but he's not very interesting. I suppose that's why he wanted so much attention. I like that fit. That's a nice fit. But it's stressful when you're in court. His hair doesn't look so perfect right now. Doesn't have the access to the constant primping of his hair and constant hairspray. His color's gone a little bit. I'll call you back. Looks a bit stressed. And I think this person cycles between the highs and the lows, maybe a bit manic depressive. Not interesting. He's not an interesting person. You can kind of tell what he looked like as a child in this photo. You can tell he might have been a bit of a jokester, but not very funny. But I imagine people just laughed at him. just because he was the boss. And he probably would demand certain things if you didn't laugh. He probably would excuse people from certain responsibilities if they laughed at his jokes. That's the kind of guy he seems to be. I don't see really any compassion here. I mean, maybe for things that belong to him that make him look good, but I imagine he would disown anything, any brothers, children, women, friends that didn't make him look good. He would just disown them. This picture's a bit intimidating. He looks like he's under some kind of mind control. And that's always a bit intimidating to me because you can't necessarily see what's controlling this person. He's focused, but he's not really there. He looks like he's sweaty and oily, so he's not comfortable. He's not feeling the way he wants to feel. He's off center. He's realizing that in order to get the type of attention that he wants, he has to do something. I think even when he's not active and actively seeking attention, he's thinking about the next time he'll get attention. Man, this guy's really not really very interesting. Now, the other gentleman next to him is Sammy the Bull Gravano, and he's actually pretty interesting. He has a YouTube channel. And he tells really great stories. And even if you didn't know anything about him, he has a certain style, a certain look that is a little more eye-catching. Even this look right here. I know he's a much more dangerous person, but he looks more inviting. Even though they both look terrifying. I don't think I'd want to be around these guys like that. But, you know, out of the two of these guys, Sammy has the more interesting face. John Gotti is not. Quite attractive. And Sammy is dressed more appropriately to who he is, I think, personality wise. Whereas John Gotti was overstepping his boundaries, you know, trying to be a little more royal than he really is. You're a criminal. I thought this would be more fun than it was, but this person is really insignificant when you look at him. There's really not much going on in his mind. Um, he doesn't really seem to know what he's doing. He just wants to be somebody. He wants to be somebody. He was nobody.